rise, if you rise, if you rise, don't forget your past situation. If you stumble, if you stumble, if you stumble, try to lift your mind through meditation. If you rise, if you rise, if you rise, try to keep your good reputation. If you stumble, if you stumble, if you stumble.
Hello and welcome back to Bristol Docks. The crane you can see behind me is one of the 1951 electric cranes, and it's currently working because I'm here for the Dock Festival where they're going to get all the cranes out and have them working. I believe there's going to be some boat trips. Hopefully we're going to get down to the underflow and see the steam motors running down there as well. So I've got to check what the timetables are for today and where I need to be and where I need to go, and I'm going to see as much as I can, queues providing. So let's go and see what's happening. So we've had a modicum of good luck. I've just seen this lovely gentleman to my left here who sold me a ticket to go up there to visit the crane, and straight afterwards to go on there, which is a very, very famous and important boat. It is the John King. So in the meantime, there's lots going on here. We've got some really nice looking lorry. Look at that beautiful lorry. We've got steam trains. We've got everything you can shake a stick at. So I'm going to go and have a little look around. I'm like a puppy with a new tail. I'm going to go and have a look at, see what everything there is to see, starting with that rather gorgeous saddle tank over there. Let's go and have a look. So here we are with engine number 34, a saddle tank loco, down by the cranes on the docks. What a great sight that is. What a wonderful sight.
If you rise, if you rise, if you rise, try to keep your good reputation.
Let's go and find out a bit more about number 34.
If you stumble, try to lift your mind through.
Beautifully, number 34 is actually in steam today. So what can you tell me about number 34? I mean, I know she's a saddle tank. And she was built in...
She was built in 1917. She was bought for the Bristol Harbour, so she was bought towards the end of the First World War. She was bought to work down at Portland Docks, but never got there because they actually built Avonmouth Docks, so she spent a special life at Avonmouth.
Yeah.
And then she came back to the city, but she's still owned by the city. She's one owner from new, so she's 104 years old. And she's looked after by the volunteers at the the Mshed Museum here in Bristol.
And she's actually shedded here?
Yes.
So she would have ended her working days here?
She would have ended her working days in Avonmouth, and I think she was just stuffed and put in a warehouse.
Well, it's so good to see yet another locomotive living and breathing.
It's wonderful.
It makes me cry when they have to take them apart and let them go.
It's very sad. We're quite happy that Henry will be back hopefully next year as well.
Yes.
So we'll have both engines running.
Absolutely.
And to have something that was Bristol built. And
yeah.
It's just...
Do you ever give rides on these? You know, up and down the track? Is that something you do here or not?
We do run a passenger service. We haven't for the last 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah. But you will be again.
I think we're hoping by next February we'll be able to have a fresh season.
That'd be nice.
How the winter goes.
That'd be good.
That's what we're working towards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, come down next year, see this wonderful locomotive and its brothers and sisters. You have several, don't you?
We've got 2 engines.
2 engines.
But there are loads of other working exhibits. We have got working boats, working cranes. We've got a busy day ahead today.
We're going on all of it. We're going on all of it. Thank you so very much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for looking after this wonderful locomotive for us.
Thank you for coming and sharing it with everyone.
Pleasure. Okay, so this is another saddle tank locomotive. This is an 060 because there's no little wheels at the front. Then there's 6 driving wheels, and then there's no driving wheels at the back. So that is defined as an 060 configuration. Very common on docks because they could go around quite a small curve and they had a very good power to rate ratio. A bit like number 34 there, same configuration, 060. Luckily we can get to see into the firebox. This is where the blast from the furnace is drawn through by the steam and pumped up to the chimney there. Have to remember to keep all these little bits and pieces nicely greased. And there are the oil cans for that very purpose. And as we walk around here, we can see the office So you have the fire hole, which is where it's pumped in. Beyond that you can see the brake. There you can see the all-important valve glass. Now that shows you the level of the water. If you've got a boiler on and there's water below a certain level in that glass, your boiler will go bang. So it's a very, very important thing in the cab, that. Watched at all times. The chap there has got his hand on the regulator, that's the go button. And there you go, that is the inside in a nutshell. To the back there obviously is the coal. These have a hopper on the back. This is the hopper you can see here. That contains the coal, which is shoveled into the firebox. The saddle tank over the boiler there that you can see is where the water's contained. So it's a very small self-contained unit, which in a confined space like a dockyard is precisely what you want. You don't want great big long locomotives taking up your entire dockside. So there you go.
Put him in the longboat till he's sober. Put him in the longboat till he's sober. Early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises. Early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Early in the morning. Way, hey.
To say it is really good to see the docks this busy in October, crowded with people, lots of things going on. This is a yearly event, I've been told today, and I'm so glad I made it down to see all this happening, because it's just come alive. So we're at the Fairburn Steam crane, which dates from around 1878. I've never actually been in it, and then they are actually today showing people around. So hey, let's go and have a look. Sadly not in steam, which sometimes it is. This thing could lift 35 tonnes clean weight off the ground and put it on a train track. No mean feat back then. So we're going to actually go in a minute, and I'll take you and show you what's in there. But for now, have a look. I am so looking forward to this. Here we go, sneak preview time. I like something with levers.
Just call my name and I'll be right here.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Gabriel. Who are you? John. John. Pleased to meet you, John. Wow, this is absolutely been on my bucket list forever to come into this crane.
Well, we hope to have it running next May.
Next May?
Yeah, because of COVID, unfortunately, we've had 2 years where we've done no maintenance on it, so we've got to go right the way from start to finish, go right the way through it to make sure everything's running properly.
Yeah.
So that we can get it steamed up. Basically, it's coal, goes into the boiler.
So it's a vertical boiler, yeah?
Yeah, it's a vertical boiler with a safety valves on top so it would blow off.
What pressure does she run at?
80 psi.
Okay.
120 it blows off.
Mm-hmm. So it's quite a low pressure boiler,
It's
then?
low pressure, yeah. I mean, a steam loco would do 240.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she runs about 80, 85. This is our fourth boiler. because, as you know, they rot.
They rot, oh yes.
And they have to be examined every 10 years.
Yes.
So we've got, I think we've got 8 years left on this one.
Oh really?
Years ago.
So is it the same certification as on the steam train?
Yeah, you've got a, it's certified under pressure and it's certified electronically with the lights going down the things.
I'm just looking at that chain cogs, the chain drum.
You get a better drive.
Oh, let me get out of your way and you can do your job. Sorry, I always talk too much. It's one of my things. That's why I do YouTube.
I mean, basically, this is where the driver stands.
Yeah.
This is for the chain. You just put it into whatever, and then use the regulator.
And that's, yeah.
Move it up and down. This is the gearing. Because on a crane, you select your gear before you start.
Right.
Because obviously, if you want to drop 35 ton onto a boat, you don't want to be coming down.
Far. You want to be coming down very gently. Absolutely.
So, there's no neutral, of course.
No.
You don't change gear.
And of course, driving a crane like this was skillful beyond belief, wasn't it?
People underestimate because although we've got no chain showing, but if you've got 6 or 10 foot of chain showing and you've got a 35 ton tank on it, you swing it around too fast on this.
Bing boing, bing boing. Exactly.
A bit of wind, so you've got to be good. We're not, we just. Because we don't get it.
No, because they were doing it day in, day out, weren't they? And how busy would the crane like this have been?
When it was first started, it wasn't very busy because they wanted it a heavy crane in Bristol because they hadn't got one, and a lot of ships who wanted boilers taking out, replacing, or heavy components taking out to be repaired when they came in. They had no way of lifting them out, so this crane was used mainly for that. And then Guinness started bringing in large container work to do it. It was busiest during the war. Where that vinyl design is now, there was a lot of similar artisan sheds, and they used to make landing craft.
Oh, really?
They used to pick the landing craft up,
Pop them over.
the water,
Excellent.
and they also used to bring Sherman tanks up the railway. And used to take
We could pick a tank up because they're less than 35 tons, aren't they? Oh.
put them into the landing craft.
And they're ready to go. That's fantastic. So this bit here is the rotation gear, isn't it? This is how you rotate the crane.
Yeah, this is the safety because it's 28 foot down,
Yes.
and if anything stops it 28 foot down, whatever obstruction,
It will twist still.
it would twist or whatever. So that's designed to shatter rather than 28 foot down.
Good idea. Good idea. I can see why they would do that.
Yeah.
Wonderful engineer. It's absolutely gorgeous just to look at all this. Every lever does something, every nut and bolt.
And this is, if you come this side, again, it's just point your head on that.
Yes.
I mean, the size of it, there was none of this health and safety here.
No.
This was all moving, and this here was red hot because this is.
That's the exhaust pipe. And of course, this is the main piston here for the engine, isn't it? So this.
There's two, one either side.
Okay,
So
so
this
this
one underneath the swivel. So you've got 3 pistons running off on.
It must have been hot and noisy in here.
Only in the winter, only in the summer.
Only in the summer.
This little pump here takes water from the cup straight into the boiler.
Oh. Okay. So it doesn't. Oh wow.
And if you come here, you can see the chains going up to the next chain.
Oh yes, look at that. Oh, this is beautiful. I tell you what, I'm so enjoying this. This is it really is for me. This is a bucket list visit. This one.
Hopefully you can come and see when it's filming.
I will be first in the queue. I'll be up with my cameras to film. You reckon May of next year?
Yeah, well, it'll be the harbour week. So hopefully.
It'll be the harbour again, but earlier in the year because this is running late.
This one really is not the harbour festival. Just because we've done nothing for 2 years, we wanted to open up so that people could see what was actually going on and what we were trying to do and trying to keep, so that we get funds and get things moving. So so we can actually do it properly later on.
Okay. Well, it's John, isn't it? It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I'm going to go because there's a queue of people down here waiting to get on board, and I'm holding them all up. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
To tell you is that this colour here
Uh-huh.
is what it was originally.
That's an original colour.
That the battleship grey was put on during the war because it was white at the end of the docks.
Oh, not a good idea. That's kind of a target for the bombers.
It's kind of, yeah.
Thank you, John.
Okay,
Well, how fantastic was that? We've been in and we've seen the Fairburn crane. Wow. As I say, has been, I wanted to go in there since I first saw that thing years and years ago when I first came to Bristol. Oh, you don't get to go in a steam crane in that condition every day of the week. That was a treat. So, from an old crane to a much newer one. This is obviously a later dock crane. Won't have the lifting capacity of the other one. It's diesel, obviously, not steam. So, we're going to have a little look. Let's see what's over there.
You can grab it with your hands, nothing's out of reach. If you really want something, we all know that it's the only way to really say what we're gonna say. If we rise up and try to make it right, righteousness is not a fight.
This scene behind me here could have come straight from the 50s. Over there, that beautiful lorry is a Bristol. Well, couldn't be anything else here really, could it? Part of the British Road Services fleet. Back in the day, they tried to nationalise our road haulage system. Didn't go terribly well, but that's displaying their colours. And they're doing a display, as you can see, there's a guy up there driving the crane at the moment, and they're doing a display of freight handling. So I'm going to shut up, we're going to go and have a look and see what they do. Obviously they have to be very careful because with these tall jibs, a little movement there can start this rather heavy hook flying from side to side. And if you're not watching what you're doing, you could knock somebody flying with that thing. Very responsible job, crane drivers. All done on hand signals. No digital controls, no remote controls, nothing. Just hand signals and a very attentive crane driver. I don't know if you can hear, but in the distance over there, that's the cathedral, the bells are ringing. Well, looks like Jeff Kellison's breakfast has arrived. Over there is the crane will be going on in a minute. You can see how this was radically changed with the introduction of the container ships, can't you? I mean, this is labour intensive. I think we've got 5, 6, 7 chaps spending quite a long time, see the hand signals there, spending quite a long time getting this load off the boat, stacked on the lorry, tied down with netting and rope, and that lorry will still carry a third of what one container would have carried that could be loaded in about 30 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just saying a lot of jobs went. The jobs you're seeing acted out in front of you here no longer exist. These dockers, they do not exist. It's all computerised yards with computerised cranes, with the lorries controlled by a computer, the ships controlled by a computer. All the manual work has gone, all the skill has gone, all the nicking has gone as well, because these guys were well known for taking shall we say, a certain tax. Boxes broke open, dock gates became places where you could buy things. But hey, that's part of the economy, that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, that's what happened. Of course, in the day you would have had trains running up and down here as well as lorries. You'd have had all the shouts and the cusses and the swear words, which you obviously don't get nowadays. I'm stood here waiting for a coffee to come out of that window over there. But while I'm stood here, behind me, that locomotive is steam. And if you've ever been to a preserved steam railway, you will know that smell that comes off one of these. It's hot oil, steam, I don't know what it is, but it is probably one of the nicest smells on God's earth. So I'm going to stand here, drink my coffee, while I inhale the fumes from this beautiful, beautiful beast behind me. So, it's time for bucket list number 2. We're going up there. 3, 2, 1, and up we go. Great aerial view of the dockside. Sorry about the camera, there's 3 piston extensions on this cherry picker, and every time it goes past one you get a bit of a bump. It's quite normal on these things, but I apologise for it in advance. As you can see, the crane cab is now coming into view on my left. And here we are. We've arrived at our destination. As you can see, the crane legs, the steps don't go all the way to the bottom because we're going from the static part to the rotating part. We are now on the rotating deck of the crane by where the chap would stand to steer. And I'm in the way because there's a guy coming through, so I'm going to step back. Here we are in the crane. You can see through the skylight there, the large lights,
right,
which we used at night.
A 1950s dock crane. One of 4 that have been restored by the museum. Crane 29 at the far end is able to move on the tracks, but that's it at the moment. We're still working on that one. 29, 30 and 31 are 3-ton cranes. They're listed 3-ton weight. Now they used to be 2 tons, but they were increased in tonnage by altering the weight, the counterbalance, to bring in Guinness, glass, 3-ton glass, which is the way I like to drink it in 3-ton glass. That's right. Crane behind us, 32, is a 10-ton crane. It can lift 10 tons, and it has been used to lift the boiler out of Mayflower, because the boilers have to come out occasionally every 10 years to be inspected. Okay. Behind us is the motor room, so if you get a chance to have a quick look in there at some point, you're welcome to. The crane is electric. It's very easy to operate. Mind your clothes on, just mind your clothes, it's greasy. Yeah. But it's difficult to operate well. Bob's good at it, I'm not so good. We'll come on to that later anyway. So, what I'm going to do is go through the controls. There's only 4, bizarrely. And I'll demonstrate them to you, and if somebody wants to have a go at slewing the crane, I'll tell you what that is in a minute, then you're welcome to as we go. If you have any questions, stop me, because I'll just blather on forever, alright? And we have another brake here, so that we can take the power off when we're lowering a load, and control it quite carefully with that brake. Imagine there's 3 tons on the end, you don't want it going down at right knots. Bizarrely, up on the brake is on. You press it down to take it off.
So it's like a dead man's lever?
Kind of, yeah, it's a good point actually. Never thought about that, mate. So the brake's now off. I'm going to lower the hook with this controller. You press the little button in, and I'm going to go 1 notch. There's obviously more speeds there. So the hook's coming down. I'll take the power off. One of the things we practice is to put the hook on the water. If it goes in the water, it fails. So what I'm starting to look for now is a reflection of the hook in the water, and when the 2 meet, in theory, you're in the right place. So if you begin to see the reflection, and I'm coming off the brake, and I've stopped it too early. Oh no, we're there. Power's on for the hook. Up it goes. You can hear it's very mechanical back there, brakes and all sorts of things come up. And it should stop on its own. Well, 9 times out of 10 it does. There you go. So the power's still on, but it's cut out. So I'll take the power off on that. What I'll do now is I'll luff in, and then if somebody wants to have a go at slewing the crane, you're welcome to. And the reason we luff in if the jib is out and we go around past the Mshed, they lose a lot of windows and they get quite upset. Can't think why. Alright, so I'm going to luff in.
Some people have no sense of
No
humour,
sense
do
of
they?
humour,
Absolutely none.
No. So, luffing in, jib's coming in, and I stop it before it's too far. Now you can begin to see we've got quite a swing on it. It's not a problem for us today, but that's what I'll try and do is kill the swing, and there is a technique which I don't have, but as it stops, there you go. It's better, it's not perfect, but it's good enough.
Here we are, I'm at the controls of number 31 here at Bristol Dock. So, first thing we're going to do, let off the handbrake. That's off. Now this goes that way and that way. We want to go that way, so I'm going to pull it towards me, is that correct?
Push it away.
Push it away. Okay, so here we go.
One click. Three goes and goes, click.
I'm driving a crane, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry? No, doesn't.
So if it's in neutral, just
Yeah,
move it down to the crane.
that's what I want to do.
Yeah, just use the brake to stop it. You got it?
That's lined up with a railway track, isn't it?
Yeah, but the trouble is the scissor is that side and the exit's that side.
You want me to put it back now?
It might help, unless you want to jump off.
No. We'll go back because you have to unwind this. Otherwise, at the end of the day, it's a big job, and you don't want that. So that's the way to do it. Now I'm pushing it away,
No, towards.
pulling it towards me. So gentle pull just to get it started. There's the engage, and then bring it onto a click. Down to about here, and then off. Because these things are so finely balanced. Look, that is just going to take itself back now. Gently, gently, gently.
I'll pass it, so it's fine.
A bit more. Oh, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Yeah, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Lined up to perfection. Thank you. Okay. Another bucket list thing ticked off today. That's 2 in a day, 2 cranes. Thank you so much.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Has anybody got any questions? Or?
I actually drove the crane. Got a great view over there, look. Right, now let's have a look. Now in here, you can see, there we go, look. There's the motors. There's the cable going up from the drum, the motors. This motor here is the motor that controls the rotation. And the electrical switching gear is all in there. So back to the thing. I think they're going to want to get us off this now, so we're going to get off. I'm just going to stop recording while I do it. And here we are. You can see the gear that is actually used for slewing the crane. And that's why it's so balanced. Look at those rollers. Right, I need to go because I've got to get on the boat now.
Under the sun, I'm gonna take my time, cause I don't really wanna go to work.
So let's hop on board, shall we?
If you fall overboard, the paperwork would be enormous. So please try and avoid it. Once we're underway, you can go and have a look around. You can go into the cabin at the front, which is where the crew would have slept. You can go in the engine room, which is the engine is up behind the wheelhouse, and then down inside. One, it's quite noisy. We do have some ear defenders. Secondly, we do ask that you wear masks if you're going inside because it's a confined space. We have all necessary life buoys and for safety purposes, and we are on radio communication with the harbour master. We haven't got the youngest children, no, we won't worry about that bit. And otherwise we'll talk some more about where we're looking at for those who want to whilst we're underway. We'll be going in a moment when our skipper's finished his tea, by the look of it.
And that's where we were just now, up there. I'm going to duck under here. Again, this is the towing hook. At this point, the ship would have been attached to that with a rope running off behind us, which is what these guide rails are for. Let's move forwards. We're going up now. The office. This is where it all happens. How do? In the distance there you can see the Great Britain in its dock on the left. And behind us is the engine room, to which I'm now going to go down. So there's the Great Britain in her dock. People always wave at people on boats. Never understood why, but they do. As you can see there, our salty sea captain is steering us in a very straight line for those swans over there. It's an official thing when you're in a tug, you have to aim for swans. Well, we have had a lovely day for this, haven't we? Look at the surroundings. Look at this. What an amazing place Bristol Harbour is on a sunny day. So I'm going to get down now and get away from the noise and stand out the front so that you can hear me talking a bit better. Let's go. Unless you're in the Navy, discretion is always the better part of the valour. Go down these things backwards. Take my word for it. It's a much better plan. Go down backwards and you'll get to the bottom without getting hurt. Go down forwards and you'll look an idiot flat on your face. Again, using boating parlance, we are now at the pointy end, which is where we're going that way. There's the view over there. It's ever so bright here, but we've actually reached the underflow, which is where we wanted to come today. Sadly, there's no water buses or easy transport down here, so we've not made it. But hey, step over here, the anchor there. Down there below me is the cabin and the quarters where the crew would have lived and worked. I think what we have here is technically termed a landlubber. Join the club? Me too! Right, so what you do, again, as I said before, the secret of these is to hop in backwards. So we'll do that and then let ourselves down gently, down the ladder, into the front. Here. Quite a long way down, and here we are. So as you can see in this area here, we've got accommodation, albeit rudimentary, for sleeping, cooking. I suspect there would have been a cooker here. There's the table, and when they weren't working, this is where they came. Let's head back up the top, shall we? It's that way. One wonders if that was actually the cooking as well as the heating arrangements. There's a tap next to it, just over there. That is a bloody small hole to get into, but we managed it. So now we're heading back towards the rear end of the boat, and here we are. And there's the boat. What a cracking view. The characteristic Bristol painted houses, they're everywhere. You can see them from the railway station. And there's some different ones here, and they've even tried to copy it with that rather ugly new build up there. We're approaching the boatyard on the starboard side again, and you can see the Great Britain hoving into view in its dock. This obviously is a working marina now for boats to stay in. That dry dock has been responsible for many ships apart from the Great Britain. The boat we're stood on today, the John King, was built there. And also what they call Brunel's Other Bridge, which is a Grade 2 listed building, and it's actually sitting on the dockside behind us, rusting at the moment, waiting for somebody to come along and rescue it. But that was built at this dock as well. Brunel himself took quite a large role in the design of that bridge, because he was actually trying out ideas which later went on to be used at Chepstow and down in Plymouth on the Tamar Bridge. There's another dry dock, look. You see the dock there? But I've decided to come back and do that beautiful boat on another day because it justifies a trip all of its own. You're not going to do that in the time it takes to come up and just have a quick look. So it's a very important boat. played a large role in this dockyard in which it sits, and we're going to come back and see it on another day. I'm looking forward to doing that, actually. Looking forward to doing that. What a ship. And of course that was originally stuck down, it was in the Falkland Islands, just rotting. And they managed to refloat it and get it all the way back here, set it up in this dock and bring it back to the glory that it has now. That's the ferry boat we went on when we were here 2 weeks ago over there. Number 7 boats. It just goes from that side of the harbour where the Great Britain is to that side, because there's no bridges that way until you get down to the very end, and there's no bridges that way until you get to the other end of the docks. So as you can imagine, that little boat is very, very busy. I said it last time I came and I'll say it again this time. Why, oh why, when they gentrify a dockside, do they build such butt ugly buildings? I mean, you know, that would not have looked out of place in communist Russia in the 1970s. It's appalling. I mean, where was... I think what they did, they just drew on the back of a box, oh that looks nice, let's build that, and built it. And then people pay thousands and thousands of pounds to go and live in it. I don't understand it. It's on both sides, look, more ugly boxes, and they always bolt galvanised observation decks or balconies or whatever you want to call them to them. There's another one over there. I mean, that serves what purpose? That's interesting. That little building there is quite nice, I like that. And that's quite an amazing paint job on that boat over there. But oh dear, look, there's more. There's more. It's all the way along until you get to the old dock buildings, and then they stop. And there's the steam crane that we visited earlier, this time from the waterside view.
And if you're hearing this, close your eyes and remember the time.
And we are now returning to the dock with its cranes and its boats.
Life is ahead, but
They've stopped singing sea shanties now. So we're going to come in now and we're going to moor over there under the cranes. So as he turns the tug ready to park or dock over there, that's the end of my visit to the Dock Festival today. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. I've been on the cranes, I've been in the steam crane, I've been on this wonderful boat, I've met some interesting people, and I've learnt a lot, and I hope you enjoyed just that little view of what's going on here today. It's really good. I believe there's something happening in May of next year where they'll be getting the steam crane running again. That will be fantastic. I will be here to see that. But for now, I'm going to leave you from the docks, because any second now we're going to go over there and more, and they're going to ask me to sit down. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one, but for now, for today, from Bristol, goodbye. So just before we finish this video, I would just like to extend a huge debt of gratitude to the volunteers who've made today's happen. Nobody here you saw today is being paid, it's all done by volunteers. If you're interested in volunteering, they're looking for volunteers as we speak. So if you're interested, contact Mshed and let them know you want to volunteer, because this all needs to be kept alive. Everything we've got going down here is history, it's our history, it's what happened, it's what, you know, up until about 40 years ago the docks were like. And that can't be allowed to go away. So if you fancy coming along and being a volunteer here, contact Mshed. I'll put the details down below. If I lived locally, I would. I tell you, I'll come down here.